Hello, Bronwyn Lund from BronHolm Tours here. I'm on the island of Bornholm and I'm standing on the east coast, and today we're actually going to take a walk down the path along to some standing stones and up the coast a bit. So I hope you enjoy the tour. It is raining very slightly, so I'm not really sure how this film will turn out today, but we'll do our best. I've been waiting for the weather to clear for a little while now and I've just become impatient, so we're going to just see how this walk goes today. Now, the reason why I make these films is really for people who either can't get to the island or can't get around the island. Bornholm is a particularly difficult place to get to. The transport services to the island are not that reliable, and it's actually a pretty expensive place to visit as well. And because it's so isolated in the middle of the Baltic Sea, it is a bit of a mission to get here. But once you get here, it's really worth all the effort. And the other thing about the island is that it has some amazing walking paths, but many of the paths are have quite a lot of rubble on them and are quite rocky. So you need to have a fairly high level of mobility to be able to walk these paths. So it's really for people who don't have a high level of mobility or just simply haven't been able to get to the island. So that's where I'm really hoping that people will find value in these films. Now, this walk is just north of my hometown of Nexø on the east coast of Bornholm. And it is actually my go-to walk. This is the walk that I do the most because it's within bike riding distance of where I live. And as you'll see as we go along, it is absolutely a very picturesque walk. We're going to go past some standing stones in a minute and have a look at those. And then just continue further up the coast to a rocky outcrop and finish the tour up there. So this is actually an old defence battery behind us, and it's called Malkværnskansen, and it's probably the most famous battery on Bornholm. According to tradition, the people of Svanike, led by Albert Wolfson, tried to prevent a Swedish landing here. After a short but violent fight, Albert Wolfson and his followers were killed. Afterwards, the Swedes forced their way into Nexø, which they plundered. Malkværnskansen was last repaired in 1808 during the war against Britain, which was from 1807 to 1813. At that time the battery was armed with 2 cannons, each of which could fire 4-kilogram balls. Only a few places in Denmark can boast as many ramparts and cannon batteries as the coast of Bornholm. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the ramparts were built as long, low earthworks placed as close to the beach as possible. In the 18th and 19th centuries, quite a few cannon batteries were erected on nearly all points along the coast. They are made of banks of turf and have straight fronts and backward bending flanks. The stands of the cannons in the battery were built of stone, giving the cannons a firm foundation and a free field of fire. So the largest stone here actually commemorates Albert Wolfson, who died defending the coast of Bornholm in 1645. And even though these cannon batteries don't look like much, they were actually incredibly effective in defending the coast, because it's much easier to aim and fire a cannon from land than it is from a ship. So you already, from a military strategic sort of position, have an advantage over any cannons that are on a ship, because it's very difficult to sight and fire a cannon on a ship due to the movement of the ship. So if you had a good battery, or even better, a strong fortress, you really had the upper hand when it came to fighting a war at sea. And it was an interesting time, the 1600s, because before that time it had really been the Middle Ages, and military defence or defence of your property was through castles and sieges. But then with the advent of gunpowder and cannons, it really became a war at sea, a struggle at sea, and it was your might on the sea that determined what sort of power you had over other countries and how many other countries you could actually attack. So there was quite a major shift from the 1500s to the 1600s in military defence technology. So it would have been a very interesting time to have lived. How now, brown cow? Oh, that looks like a nice way to have a scratch under the chin. As I said, the path can be a little bit treacherous with rocks sticking up where you least expect them. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk down into the small cove that is just behind us and just sit for a few minutes and enjoy the waves crashing on the rocks. I'm just going to dry off the camera lens just in case it has rained a bit and there's a bit of water on the lens. It's a bit hard to tell when the camera's on the top of my head. But I'm just going to do that, and then we'll go down into the cove and sit and just enjoy the waves crashing on the rocks for a few minutes. So there's the cove down there to our right. Path gets a bit tricky here, so just bear with me until we get to the spot where I want to sit for a bit. Well, that was perfect timing. It's starting to rain. I'll turn the camera off and see whether it stops in a bit. I think it has stopped raining, and I've also moved so that we're a bit further out on the rocks. We were sitting over on the outcrop over to the right hand side of us when I stopped the film. So I've just moved over and waited for the rain to stop. Now we can just sit here for a few minutes and enjoy the waves.